So we are supposed to continue the types of correlation. Here, correlation can be classified into the following major types: positive, negative, simple, multiple, partial, total, linear, non-linear, and logical and illogical. In this, we also learnt the positive correlation. Okay, positive correlation. What is positive correlation? If at all the variables are moving in the same direction, if the variables are moving in the upwards, and I mean if both the variables whatever we have selected, if they are moving upwards, then it is called as positive correlation. If at all they are moving downwards, again that is the same direction, correct? So then this is also called as positive correlation. Okay, so on the basis of direction, okay, here we will be considering the direction. On the basis of direction in which the variables move, we will be deciding positive or negative. If both variables are moving in the same direction, correlation is said to be positive or direct. Okay, this positive correlation is also called as direct correlation. Okay, it's also called as direct correlation. That means if one of the variables is increasing and the other on an average is also increasing. Now if you see here, price per ton, or let's for your easy example, let's say price per kg. Price per kg is 100, 120, 130, 140, 150, 170. It is increasing. And similarly, the supply also, let's take in kgs. Okay, 1000 kgs will become 1 ton. Okay, here supply in kgs also is increasing. As and when I increase the price, the supply of the material has also increased. This is called as positive correlation. If one increases, the other one on an average also increases, then we will call that as positive correlation or direct correlation. That is one scenario, scenario number one. Now scenario number two. What was scenario number one? If one increases, other also increases. So it is in the same direction. Then scenario number two, or if one of the two variable is decreasing, the other on an average is also decreasing. So if at all the price per ton, let's take from this side. Okay, so 170, 150, 140, 130, 120, 100. Now price per ton is decreasing. We will take from this side. This is the starting point. Okay, now price per ton or price per kg is decreasing. Similarly, as and when the price is decreasing, the supply in quantity is also decreasing. Now both are moving in more or less the same direction. So in both the cases, when one increases, the other increases. When one decreases, other also decreases relatively. Such relationship is called as positively correlated. This is positive correlation. Everybody understood positive correlation? Everybody understood or not?
Yes, ma'am, understood.
Okay. Now let us go to next point, that is negative correlation. If two variables move in a opposite direction, if one increases and other decreases, this is called opposite direction. Okay, if two variables move opposite direction, the correlation is said to be negative or inverse. For positive, it is also called as direct, correct? For positive, it is also called as direct. For negative, it is also called as inverse. Then that means if one of the two variables increases and the other variable decreases. If one variable increases, the other variable decreases, or if one variable decreases, other variable increases. In both of these scenarios, it is called as inverse or negative correlation. Okay, so let us understand by this example. Price, if you see here, the price is increasing, but the demand for the product is decreasing. Correct? So if the price of the commodity increases, the demand for the product decreases. As the price increases, demand decreases, and vice versa. If at all price decreases, then the demand for the product will increase. This is the general correlation or the general law of demand. So this will be the negative correlation. So what is positive correlation? If one increases, positive correlation is if one increases, other increases. If one decreases, other also decreases. What is negative correlation? If one increases, others will decrease. If one decrease, other will increase. So this is your first type of correlation. Now next, simple and multiple correlation. Now when only two variables are studied, it is a simple correlation. Height and weight of a person, price and demand, input and output, okay, and rainfall and agriculture productivity. Based on the rain, what is the agriculture produce that is being done. So these are only two variables that we are studying, and we compare both of them and study. Okay, so that is simple correlation. But if you're studying too many factors at a time, okay, so let us take an example. Now we are studying the marks of the students. Now marks of the students, these here only 3 subjects are given. Let's take all of your 7 subjects, 7 to 8 subjects that you have. If we study marks of all the students here, okay, now each student's marks, when I study, I will be able to understand how the student is studying and what is his or her concentration levels and how are they taking the exams, what is their attitudes towards the exam. So here we are analyzing a lot of things just by seeing your examination marks. But if you have, what you have to observe is we are not only taking 2 subjects, but we are considering more than 2 variables. So we compare marks in accountancy, marks in statistics, let's say marks in maths, then you have FM, financial management, then you will have English, Kannada, okay, and the other subject, PRCC and all that, BE, everything we will consider. Okay, now here we are not only limiting ourselves to 2 variables, but we are going beyond that 2 variables. So then it will become multiple correlation. In simple words, simple correlation means 2 variables are studied. Here more than 2 variables are studied. Understood? So that is your simple and multiple correlation. Any doubts until here? Everything is clear? Okay. Now, moving on further is partial and total correlation. Okay, good. Now, partial correlation. What is partial correlation? When there are when there are more than 2 variables and the relationship of any 2 are studied. There are so many variables, but we will pick only 2 variables to study. That is called as partial correlation. Okay, now let's see this example. If we study the relationship between rainfall and crop yield. Crop yield is nothing but how much. Let's take an example here. There is a land. Okay, this is a agriculture land and we are growing rice. Okay, we cannot grow rice directly. So we first grow paddy. From paddy, we will take out the rice. Okay, so if this is a paddy field, now for this land, okay, if for this land, how many kgs or how many tons of paddy do I get after the crop? That is known as yield. Okay, that is known as yield. How much am I getting? The end result, how much am I getting? If I am getting good amount of good tons of paddy, then I have a very good crop yield. Okay, there are a lot of calculations that the farmers do for particular land, for particular square foot of land and all that. They will know how much fertilizers to add and how much water you should give it to the land. What are the suitable conditions so that the paddy grows very well and healthy. Okay, they know all that. So that is called as yield. Now here we are trying to compare between rainfall. We are trying to compare between rainfall and crop yield. So these are the only 2 points we will be learning. So what we are trying to do is we will see, okay, how much rainfall is happening in this area. And because of the rainfall, how much paddy we are able to grow. Those are the two things we are considering. But apart from that, we will not take into consideration how much fertilizers we have used, what type of farming are we doing. Are we doing sprinkler irrigation, or is it completely filled with water? If you see, few fields are filled with water completely and few fields are very dry. Okay, few fields will have black soil, few will have red soil. Okay, the type of soil, what is the depth of the soil which is available, what is the type of pesticides that we are supposed to use, what is the type of the seed that we are putting in. So there are so many things to consider. And which season are we starting the irrigation? We don't consider any of such factors. We only have two factors in mind, that is rainfall and the crop yield. Okay, so when you do the study on only two variables, then it is called as partial. You are only doing half of the study. But if you go on and study everything, every possible factor you are studying, then it is called as total correlation. That's all. When the correlation between all the variables under the study are taken together for measuring the covariance, then it is known as total. When I take all the factors that are available in this example, fertilizer, seeds, season, cultivation, type of soil, nature of soil, rainfall, how many tons of paddy do I get, and from paddy how much of rice I get, I go and check every single detail and then I do the comparison and find the correlation. So that is known as partial and total correlation. Clear? Understood? Next. Next is linear and non-linear correlation. Now, linear correlation and non-linear correlation. Let us understand what is that. This classification of correlation is based on consistency. Okay. Of consistency of the ratio of change between the variables. Now we will see how is that being done. If the ratio of, this is consistency, okay, if the ratio of change in one variable tends to bear a constant ratio, if one changes, the other will change constantly, then it is called as linear. Now let's see this example. If you, the number of days worked are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now see the amount paid. Every day they are increasing how much? 200 to 400. So there is 200 increase. Now again 400 to 600. So 400 plus 200 increase. 600 to 800. Again 600 plus 200 increase. 800 to 1000 plus 200 increase. Again plus 200 increase. Okay. So this plus 200 is the constant change. Okay. So this is known as linear correlation. So there is a same type of change that is happening between two variables. That is linear correlation. Then correlation is said to be non-linear if the amount of change in one variable do not bear a constant ratio to the amount of change in other variable. Okay. Suppose for the same series, if at all you have the numbers like this, let's say this is 100, this is 500, this is 700, this is 850, and then you have 1250, and then you have 3000. Now can you see any pattern in this? Is there a constant increase? No, there is no constant increase. So some for few, let's say here there is 400 difference, and again if you see here there is only 200 difference. Okay, there's only 150 difference from 700 to 850, and again there's more difference here, there's more difference here. So this difference, whatever you see, is not constant in nature. There is lot of different amounts or different numbers which are being involved. So that is known as non-linear correlation. To summarize, linear correlation is when the changes are constant, plus 200, plus 200, plus 200, plus 200, plus 200, and it goes on. So this is constant change, and that is known as linear correlation. But when it comes to non-linear, there is no constant change and you have a random numbers. Understood? Any doubts until here? Good. Now coming to the last part of correlation, or last type of correlation, you can say this as. So this is logical correlation and illogical correlation. Okay. So when the correlation between two variables is not only mathematically defined, but also logically sound too, then it is called as logical correlation. This is very, very important to understand, because we'll be applying this everywhere. Okay. So what is this logical correlation is? It should not be only mathematically defined. Okay. It's not that you only have numbers, but it should also make some sense. So something like this: correlation between price and the demand for a product. Now let's take sanitizers for example. Now, once the COVID started, you can see sanitizer stands, you can see sanitizer spray. Yes, you have so many options now, correct? Now, the price and the demand for these sanitizers or sanitizer stands or sanitizer sprays will make a sense, which means we are actually comparing the price of the product and the demand for the product. Now, just because the demand is high, the price can also go high, and that is what is happening. At one point of time, we were not even getting sanitizers. Everywhere it was out of stock, right? But now we have sanitizers. There is enough supply of sanitizers also available. So this comparison between demand and the price of the product will make some sense. And then between price of petrol and sale of vehicle. Now, if the price of petrol is too high, so what we will think, okay, instead of using a two-wheeler, let me take a bus. In a normal scenario I'm talking about, now many of them don't like to go out at all. If it was a normal scenario, if at all the price of, let's say the price of petrol is 100 rupees, 1 liter is 100 rupees, for example. Okay, now this 100 rupees, you think, okay, the price of petrol is too much, let us go in a bus and come, that will be easier. Okay, so that is the example between price of petrol and sale of vehicles. Then coming to the illogical correlation, the correlation between two unrelated variables. Now, what is logical? It should not only be mathematically defined, but also it should sound logically correct. What is illogical? It is two unrelated variables which we are trying to compare. Okay. Now, production of cars and production of mobile phone set. Can you compare them in any way? It doesn't sound logical. You can get the number of cars data, you will get the numbers, you'll also get number of mobile phone sets that is being produced, but can you logically compare both of them? It's not possible. Correct. Now, can you compare the syllabus of, let's say, first standard with the syllabus of 10th standard? It is actually not logical, because the syllabus will be framed on the basis of mindset of the kids at the level of first standard, how much the kid should learn, and at the level of 10th standard, how much the kid should learn. So it will be framed on the basis of their mindset. But you can compare 10th standard under NCERT or state syllabus and CBSE and ICSE. This you can do. This is logical, because you are comparing the same 10th standard syllabus in 3 different formats. But you cannot compare the syllabus of first standard and 10th standard. This is illogical. I hope it is clear to everyone. Any doubts until here? Okay. Now coming to the most important part. Okay, you have to remember this table, because this table is very, very useful to solve the problem. Every problem we will have to remember this table and do the problem. Okay. Now, according to Carl Pearson, okay, the Carl Pearson is one person who has actually given us this whole concept of correlation. The coefficient of correlation lies between two limits. So there is two extreme limits, that is plus 1 on one side and minus 1 on the other side. Okay, so in this plus 1 and minus 1, he has divided them and he has given the values. Now, using those values, let us define what do we understand by that. Now, if at all, the R is nothing but correlation coefficient. Okay, the short form for correlation coefficient is R. Now, if R is plus 1, okay, to this extreme point, if at all R is plus 1, then we can call it as perfect positive correlation. What is positive correlation? If at all the data is moving in the same direction, either it is going, either both the variables are going up or both the variables are going down. So if it's moving in the same direction, then it is called as positive correlation and it is perfect. Okay, it's perfect here. Only then it will become plus 1. Now on the other side, if it is on the -1 value. If it is on the -1 value, then it is perfect negative correlation. If it is on the -1 value, here it is perfectly negatively correlated. Clear? So on the +1 side, it is perfect positive correlation. On the other side, it is perfect negative correlation. Next, if the R is between plus 0.75 and +1, if the R lies between these values, then it is called as high degree positive correlation. Okay, if any of the point lies in between this, it is called high degree positive correlation. And similarly here, if it lies between -1 and -0.75, then it is called as high degree negative correlation. Okay, high degree negative correlation. Then if it lies between 0 point, okay, let's say this is 0, the center value, which is 0. If at all it lies between 0.25, okay, it lies between 0.25 and 0.15, sorry, 25 and 75. If it lies between this value, then it is called as moderate degree of positive correlation. If it's on the positive side, it's positive correlation. Here, minus 0.25, and if the number lies in between this, it is moderate degree negative correlation. So we finished this part 1, then 2, the other side also 1 and 2. Now from 0.25 to 0 on negative side as well as positive side. So if it is from the positive side, it is called as low degree positive correlation. If it's on the negative side, it is called as low degree negative correlation. Okay, and then if the R value is equal to 0, if the R value is equal to 0, it means they are not correlated. There is no relationship between two of the variables. That is what it will say. Okay, to say this in a very precise format, always remember the scale. Okay, it is much easier for you if you remember the scale during solving the problems also. We'll be using during the problems also. So you have this scale where one side it is +1 and the other side it is -1. Okay, and the central value is 0. And we have 0.25 and 0.75 on the positive side. Similarly, on the negative side, minus 2.5, sorry, it's not 0.5, it is 2.5, sorry, what is that? Yeah, 0.75, right? So 0.25 and minus 0.75. Now, if the number is on +1, it is called perfect positive correlation. If the number is on -1, it is called perfect negative correlation. If the number lies between -1 and 0.75, then it is high degree positive correlation. And on the negative side, -1 to -0.75, it is high degree negative correlation. Then again, from 0.75 to 0.25, moderate degree positive correlation. On the negative side, moderate degree negative correlation. Again, from 0.25 to 0, low degree positive correlation. On the negative side, low degree negative correlation. And if at all it is at 0, it is called as no correlation. Understood? Any doubts? Okay. Now next, going to the methods of studying correlation. Okay, what are the types of methods that we have to study correlation. First is scatter diagram method, then we have graphic method, then Karl Pearson's coefficient of correlation, then Spearman's rank correlation, and concurrent deviation method. Now we have 5 types. Out of that, we'll be studying only few of them and not everything. Okay, and the major things that we have is Karl Pearson and Spearman rank. Rest of them we'll just see the introduction later. Clear? So first let us go to Karl Pearson's coefficient of correlation. A popular and widely used method of calculating coefficient of correlation was given by Karl Pearson in 1867 to 1936, a British biometrician and statistician. Okay, he was a British biometrician and statistician who was there in 1867 to 1936, and he came up with a coefficient of correlation and named after himself, known as Karl Pearson's coefficient of correlation. It is denoted by R. Okay, it's denoted by R. And what is the meaning of coefficient correlation? It's also known as Pearson's coefficient correlation or correlation coefficient. Okay, the ratio of the covariance between x and variables written as COVXY to the product of the standard deviation of x and y. So here we are supposed to find the covariance of x and y for the standard deviation of x and standard deviation of y. So here you're supposed to understand to learn how to solve the standard deviation. Now here you have standard deviation of x and standard deviation of y. So this is the formula to calculate the Karl Pearson's coefficient of correlation, that is nothing but R. So R is equal to covariance xy divided by standard deviation of x and standard deviation of y. Okay, now moving on further, covariance. Let us see how to find the covariance. Now covariance measures joint variation of two variables. So it will see how good is the joint variation that is there between two variables. And how do we calculate covariance? Using this formula, which is summation x or y divided by n. It is something like your mean values. But the what is that x? X is equal to x minus x bar. So how to find covariance? First you should find x bar. Then you should find deviations, that is nothing but x minus x bar. Okay, and then the total of this x minus x bar divided by n, that will be considered for covariance. Okay, same thing to be applied for y also. Now once you get the covariance, that correlation coefficient formula we are taking here. Okay, this covariance can also be written as sigma xy by n. This, right, this formula I am taking it here. In place of covariance, I am taking that here, sigma xy divided by n, whole divided by standard deviation of x, standard deviation of y. That is the next step. Now further simplification, I will get that n below. So sigma xy divided by n into summation x, or sorry, standard deviation x and of x and standard deviation of y. So this is also another formula to calculate coefficient of correlation. Now, this formula also can be modified further. Okay, this formula also can be modified further. So NAX summation y is standard deviation of y is also available. Now those things can be written down in a little different way. Okay, so we are just expanding the standard deviation formulas. So square root of sigma x square into sigma y square, and in the denominator, in the numerator, you will have sigma x y. Okay, so this is formula number 3. Understood? Main thing to note, if at all they give x, y directly, don't go and calculate x and y. You will have to take the deviations. That is nothing but x minus x bar, y minus y bar. That is the main thing you have to understand throughout this chapter. Okay, the above formula is used when deviations are taken from actual mean, and in the transformed formula we need to compute standard deviations of the given variables. This actual mean, assumed mean and all we will see when we start the problems. I think that will be much easier to understand. Any doubts until here? Quickly. Okay, now let us see the steps and then we'll start with the problem. Now steps to be followed while using the formula. Now we saw the formula, so let's see the steps. Now calculate actual means of the given two series of variables. So we are supposed to calculate the mean. How do you calculate the mean? Sigma x by n, correct? You will have x data given, so you'll add all the x data divided by the number of the data available to us. So that will become your x bar, and we will also find out y bar.